Hey!
Hi, Becky.
Put the gun down. Get the fuck out of my house.
Becky's life was full of misery from a very young age. Everything began to fall apart when her father, the one steady person she relied on, was murdered right in front of her by a thug named Dominic. That moment changed her completely, like someone had flipped a switch inside her. She ended up in the foster system, moving from one home to another like an unwanted package. Even when people were kind or the home seemed nice, Becky never believed any of it was real. Every smile and kind word felt fake to her. She acted polite when she had to, pretending to be the sweet foster kid, but inside she was full of anger and chaos. She hated their rules, their forced kindness, and the entire system. So she kept running away over and over, slipping out of foster homes like smoke escaping through someone's fingers. Where did she end up? In the woods. Other kids dreamed about bright cities or exciting adventures, but Becky found her freedom in the wild. Out there, she didn't have to deal with pity or fake affection. She learned quickly how to set traps, how to handle blades, and how to stay alert every second, never letting her guard down. After watching her father get murdered, Becky stopped trusting anyone. Every sound in the trees made her tense, and every shadow felt dangerous, and she liked it that way. Being alert meant staying alive. After a year of surviving alone, she met an older woman named Elena, someone most people avoided because she was tough, blunt, and worn down by life. That was exactly why they got along. Becky didn't want affection, and Elena never offered any. They simply lived side by side, two people who no longer trusted the world and expected nothing from it. No drama, no promises, just survival and silence. For Becky, it was the closest she had ever come to feeling at peace. Peace didn't pay the bills, so Becky got a waitressing job at a local diner even though she didn't like dealing with people. Every day tested her patience. Customers complained about cold coffee. Picky diners asked for gluten-free toast, and teenagers left crumbs everywhere without tipping. She forced herself to smile because she needed the job, all while fighting the urge to smash a plate over someone's head. One grumpy regular once complained that his toast should be made from wood imported from Indonesia. In Becky's imagination, she flipped the whole table on him and walked out laughing. But in real life, she just tightened her jaw, put on a fake smile, and kept doing her job. At home, Becky and Elena never talked like a normal family. There was no gossip, no light conversation, just heavy discussions about pain, unfairness, and the violent night 2 years earlier when Becky took down Dominic and his gang. Sometimes, Elena gave her a worried look, as if she suddenly understood that Becky might be far more dangerous than she seemed. Elena once joked that Becky might be a psycho. Becky just shrugged, calm and unfazed. She believed she had only done what needed to be done. It wasn't madness. It was payback. To her, revenge wasn't evil. It was justice. Then one night, the radio reported a group causing chaos called the Noble Men. Their name sounded classy, but they were just thugs hiding behind a fancy title. The police couldn't catch them, but everyone knew they were dangerous. Becky listened carefully, her eyes narrowing. Something about them felt familiar, like a storm she could sense coming. The next day, that storm walked straight into her diner. 3 men, Anthony, DJ, and Sean, looked like trouble the moment they walked in. DJ was loud and sleazy, making rude comments at Becky and suggesting she should meet him at a hotel. Anthony, the leader, acted like he was above everyone else and barked orders at her as if she were his servant. Sean stayed quiet but still went along with the others, looking uncomfortable. Becky finally ran out of patience. Dropping her fake smile, she walked over and accidentally poured hot coffee onto Anthony's lap. It looked believable enough to pass as a mistake, but everyone knew it wasn't. Anthony's face filled with rage, but Becky didn't back down for a second. That night, as the 3 men left the diner, DJ kept cracking jokes about Anthony's burned pants. Anthony wasn't amused. His pride hurt more than the burn, and he wasn't the type to let Becky walk away after embarrassing him. He was already thinking about revenge. That night, while Becky was trying to relax at home, she felt that something was off. A strange symbol had been scratched onto a nearby surface. The lock had an old design one Becky recognized from Dominic's crew. Her instincts told her something was wrong, but before she could move, everything exploded into chaos. Anthony, DJ, and Sean burst inside. DJ swung a bat and hit Becky's dog, Diego, knocking him down with a painful yelp. Anger filled Becky, but she was outnumbered. Sean hesitated, clearly unsure, but DJ kept pressuring him to join the attack. Elena burst in with a shotgun and ordered the intruders to get out. For a second, Becky thought they might have the upper hand. But Anthony was quicker. He pulled out a gun and fired. Elena collapsed. Becky rushed to her, screaming, but someone hit Becky on the head and knocked her out. When she woke up the next morning, the house was silent, far too silent. Diego was missing, and Elena was dead. Becky buried her in the woods with her own hands, hiding the grave so no one would find it. It was the hardest thing she had ever done, but it brought back the anger she thought she had let go of. First, her father, and now, Elena. Everyone she cared about had been taken from her, and she wasn't going to let the men who did it get away. Painting her nails turned into a battle ritual, not something done for looks. She gathered her gear, sharpened her blades, and headed out for revenge. Anthony had mentioned a man named Daryl once that was her first lead. She searched the town and found two people named Daryl. The first was a frail old woman, obviously not the one she was looking for. The second Daryl lived by the lake. Becky headed there right away, not knowing that Anthony and his crew were already at the lake house. Sean, still shaken from the night before, wanted to talk things through and maybe walk away from everything. Anthony mocked him and refused to tolerate any sign of weakness. They went to meet Daryl, the real leader of the NM group, with his right-hand man, Twig, standing nearby. Daryl was careful and suspicious, asking Anthony about the dog and what had happened the night before. Anthony lied, saying their car had broken down and they had simply found Diego wandering around. Daryl narrowed his eyes, still not believing Anthony's story. While they argued, none of them realized that Becky was already inside the house, slipping through the shadows like a ghost. She watched them, studied the room, and waited for the perfect moment to strike. She had lost everything, and all she had left was revenge, and Becky was very good at it. While Becky searched Daryl's creepy hideout for clues, something unexpected happened. She had just crawled under a bed when Daryl walked in, with Sean following behind him. What happened next wasn't small talk, it was the truth finally revealed. Sean, still new to the nobleman, had believed he was joining some kind of rebellious activist group. He couldn't have been more wrong. Daryl pulled out an old notebook filled with names, teaching Sean a dark lesson like a corrupt mentor, exposing his real agenda. Politicians, business leaders, and wealthy donors were secretly backing the noblemen not for peace or reform, but to create chaos. Daryl didn't try to hide any of it. He explained their plan to spark violent protests against a politician named Hernandez. In the room stood a disturbing statue of Hernandez, like a twisted idol Daryl obsessed over. Sean felt sick as he finally understood the truth. He wasn't part of a brave movement, but stuck with dangerous extremists. When he tried to speak up, Daryl shut him down with a cold, threatening stare. The message was clear: if he tried to leave, he'd be killed. Sean realized he was trapped. After the room emptied, Becky slid out from under the bed. She quickly took photos of every incriminating page and grabbed a flash drive from the desk. It was a jackpot proof of the group's wealthy supporters. But she still had more to do. She followed Daryl to his storage unit and was shocked by what she saw: rows of rifles, boxes full of gas masks, and stacks of explosives piled up like groceries. This wasn't just a street gang anymore. They were gearing up for a full-scale war, and their target was City Hall. Meanwhile, back at the house, Daryl and his crew were celebrating their so-called noble mission. A sudden knock at the door stopped the celebration. When Daryl opened it, he found Becky's phone sitting on the porch, placed there like a warning. The whole room went silent. DJ turned pale, Anthony started to panic, and Sean froze. Under pressure, Anthony finally admitted the truth: they had killed Elena and taken Becky's dog. Trying to save himself, he offered to set up a peaceful meeting with Becky so they could give Diego back. Becky wasn't fooled by their plan. She was already hiding in the woods, watching everything from a distance. When Anthony snuck out to act like a peacemaker, he walked right into one of her traps, a deep pit she had dug using heavy equipment. He crashed to the bottom. Becky didn't kill him immediately. She wanted him to feel every moment of fear. She gagged and tied him up, then set up a gun to fire automatically if anyone opened Daryl's front door. Moments later, Daryl opened the door, and the trap worked exactly as Becky planned. Anthony's time was up. The chaos pushed Sean over the edge. Terrified, he said he wanted to leave, but Daryl wasn't the kind of man who let people walk away. He snapped and attacked Sean, beating him until he stopped moving. Sean was dead, another victim of Daryl's violence. DJ watched in shock, realizing he was stuck with no way to escape. Twig, Daryl's right-hand man, stepped outside with his weapon, searching for Becky. That's when Becky made her move, calling Daryl directly calm, sharp, and completely in control. She revealed that she had the flash drive that could destroy everything Daryl had built. Furious, Daryl ordered Twig to kill her. But Becky acted first, shooting an arrow that hit Twig hard. Daryl tore the arrow out, desperate to save him. But the wounded man kept moving. Becky pulled him into the weapons bunker, ready for her next move. It was the same stash she had seen before. As soon as he stepped inside, she slammed the door and threw in a smoke bomb. Coughing and barely able to see, he staggered around. Becky tried to start a lawnmower to take him out, but the keys were missing. So she picked up a blade and ended it the old-fashioned way. Before she could catch her breath, a sharp sting hit her neck, a tranquilizer dart. Darkness took over. When she woke up, she was tied up. Daryl stood above her, smirking, with all her stolen gear spread out on the table, knives, smoke bombs, and the special key from Dominic's past. Becky's blood ran cold. Daryl wasn't just a thug. He accidentally cracked the key. It revealed a set of coordinates pointing to something much bigger. Then came the surprise Becky hadn't seen coming. The frail old woman with the oxygen tank wasn't just a bystander. She was Daryl's mother and the real mastermind behind the noble men, the riots, the money, and all their connections. Her fingerprints were everywhere. Daryl was just the muscle, the loud, obvious one. She was the real brains behind everything. Becky refused to hand over the flash drive, but when Daryl threatened Diego, she hesitated. That dog was all she had left. Thinking he had the upper hand, Daryl loosened her restraints. Big mistake. The moment Becky's arms were free, she attacked. She lunged forward, spraying chemicals into Daryl's face and blinding him.
Stop! Do you, but I the honors myself.
Never find the drive.
Then she spun around and drove a knife into the old woman. Daryl screamed, the sound of his world falling apart. Furious, he chased Becky into the forest, but that was her territory. She knew the area perfectly and led him straight into her final trap, a hidden snare filled with spikes. Daryl stepped right into it, ending his reign in seconds.
It was fun while it lasted.
Not over yet.
But Becky didn't get the ending she had hoped for. Instead of freedom, she found herself in a cold interrogation room. Across the table sat Agent Mary, a government official who had been watching everything. She explained that the flash drive Becky had risked her life to get contained proof that public officials were secretly funding the noble men corrupt people in power bought and paid for. Becky had uncovered something huge. Instead of scolding her, Mary made an unexpected offer: join the CIA. The once angry foster kid who had survived in the woods would become their youngest recruit. Her first mission: track down DJ, the coward who had escaped during the chaos. Becky had a new mission: to uncover the secret behind Dominic's key. It didn't take long for her to find DJ stranded by the roadside with his broken-down car. When he looked up, she was there, stepping out of a sleek government vehicle, fully dressed in CIA gear. For a moment, DJ thought he might still talk his way out of trouble. Then he noticed the bazooka in her hands. She fired, and DJ's car exploded in a huge fireball. Becky watched the flames with a satisfied smirk, ending the chapter with one final, explosive blast.